You're videotaping the show. I am.
Disclaimer before this video starts, I am not an avid reader. I don't like thinking too much, so when I saw this book, I thought it would be perfect for me. Right off the bat, the guess who the liberal is in this cover is quite astonishing. Okay, not all liberals dye their hair. Don't use me as an example. Don't use me as an example. I'm actually going to start this video by reading some reviews so we know what we're getting ourselves into. So let's read the little blurb. This is on Goodreads. It has 36 ratings and it has a 1.39 star average. So that is
impressive.
Anyways, here's the little blurb. He's a liberal. She's conservative. What could go wrong? When progressive bisexual MIT junior Nathan Campbell meets Marina Salinas on the hockey rink, he's immediately smitten. She's gorgeous, smart, funny, competitive. There's just one problem. She's a Republican. Unable to resist each other, Nate and Marina begin to date in secret, sneaking around Boston to explore what they both know is a really bad idea. But beyond the bubble of their growing affection, tensions on campus are rising. When Nate's roommate tries to get Marina's friend expelled for hate speech, can their spark survive the storms of political division, or will they, like so many others, be unable to overcome the things between them? I think hate speech is a little more than things, but I mean, what the hell do I know? I haven't read it yet. Let's read some of the reviews. They're supposed to overcome the fact that her political party wants to strip him of his rights. This is gross. As a bisexual reader and author, I would like to give the concept negative 74 stars.
Pop off, Sky.
So technically this is a DNF. Do not know what that means. Ben, what's a DNF?
DNF means did not finish.
Oh, okay. I'll give this book one thing. I'd forgotten what it was like to be physically pained when reading something, and this book reminded me of that feeling. So, thanks for that, I guess. Kate Shod rated it, again, another 1 out of 5 stars, and she said, I read this so you don't have to. Clearly you don't know how my channel works. First of all, I'm going to address the fact that this book was advertised as Romeo and Juliet meet cancel culture. Arguably, Romeo and Juliet isn't even a love story, it's a tragedy. I guess in that way, it's correct advertisement. This book was, in fact, a tragedy in the way that it's tragic that I even read it. Holy shit! Kate stays roasting. Maybe I should have read through some of those before I bought it. You know when you have that page that says, for this person, for this person. So Audrey Rivero writes, for my parents who taught me to think. For my parents who taught me to think. Jesus Christ, what an aggressive way to start a book. And then there's more quotes here. If you want the truth to stand clear before you, never be for or against. The struggle between for and against is the mind's worst disease. Who the hell is Jianji Senkang? Because that quote is garbage. This quote is saying if you have strong feelings about anything, that's the mind's worst disease. Jesus. And she also quoted her own character. And this quote really, I mean, tears in my eyes. It's, to dialogue. Wow. Wow. I certainly already have so many thoughts, but it would be unfair to judge prematurely. Here's a little reading montage.
Not as fun as a drinking montage. Really not as fun.
So I read the whole thing. I took a lot of notes, so let's jump into it.
Haha, get ready for this book report.
First things first, the author does a terrible job of remaining unbiased. There are the two characters, Marina, who is the Republican, and Nate, who is the liberal. And the way she describes these two characters in the first half of the book, it's so telling. When she describes Marina, she's like, her chestnut skin, her beautiful waves, her glowing eyes. And then when she describes Nate, she's like, this rainbow-haired piece of shit piss boy. Like, she literally pops off every time she mentions his rainbow hair. Let me read a few quotes about that, because I did highlight them. He was handsome, sure, despite the awful hairstyle. Nate was feeling the waters, just like anyone else who had purple in their hair. Gotta love that not-so-subtle biphobia there. Don't worry, I'll jump into that later. I'm not someone who falls for Marxist idiots with unnatural hair colors. There's so many quotes about his hair, and I swear to God there's not one terrible thing about Marina's personality or appearance. Every time Marina talks, it's like, not in a angry way. She's picking her words so carefully. She just doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. She's so beautiful. She's so kind.
You're perfect. You're beautiful. You look like Linda Evangelista. You're a model. Everything about you is perfect. Did you stone those tights? Oh, you're smiling. They eat her up every single time.
There's so many other quotes about his hair, but that is the least of my concerns here. Next point is that they make being a Christian in a liberal area feel like you're a minority. In the book, they're in Boston, and Marina's like, she keeps playing with her cross, and she's like, everyone gives me looks like, oh my god, she's really wearing that? Oh my god, what an idiot, she believes in God. So of course, I asked my friend Kara, who lives in Boston, if this was the case, and she said, no one fucking does that. And I was like, yeah, okay, that checks out. There were so many moments where I'm gonna give this book a little bit of credit. I thought Marina was getting the point. She defended non-binary people. She argued with Republicans as much as she argued with Nate. Like, she was the true moderate. She's what the author believes that everyone should strive to be. It just confuses me. Like, the whole message of this book is not to have strong opinions, but the author has a strong opinion about not having strong opinions. Make it make sense. How could he not see it? The single elephant in the room, referring to herself as the Republican. I audibly chuckled at that, sure. And she acknowledged that he made her better. Not better enough to stop sticking up for the piece of shit Ben, but, you know, I had so much hope for this character that she would get this redemption arc, but instead it just went like this. Like, this was her arc. And that's it. She just got a little bit better. Just a little bit. Super biphobic. I was biphobic at one point in my life, but then I was like, why am I afraid of myself? Every single person he saw, it was like super sexual. There was not one person in the book that he didn't like creepily lust after. I'm not saying that lusting after people is wrong. I'm not trying to slut shame, but the way the author wrote it, it's supposed to make you uncomfortable. And surprise, surprise, you actually succeeded. Leo adjusted his posture, and Nate tried not to think about the shape of his roommate even under all those layers. This is his friend. Like, why is he thinking about his friend naked? Chapters later, I was like, oh, well, he does have this friend Tiffany, who he didn't pine for. No, he did though, because he literally wants to fuck anything that moves. Which he literally says in the book, by the way. As soon as he met Marina, the line was, what would she look like under all that bulky gear? A quote from page 8 that haunts my dreams. Like most of his crushes, it had been nothing but a brief amusement, a bit of passing fun. In fact, the vast majority of his dating life was like that. The prolonged act of falling from one bed into the next. Oh my god! This writer hates Nate so much. She's constantly trying to make him look as bad as possible, and then she thinks she can fix it with a bit of self-awareness. Like, not all bisexual people are like this, but Nate really makes all of them look bad. They also called him romantically ADD, which, I mean, there's so many layers of why you can't, but they can. The whole book is like, we can say whatever we want.
And you're gonna pay $5 for it, Athena, you stupid sack of shit.
So this book, at a few rare moments, almost calls out the system. Again, this close. And then it switches, it 180s, and Marina says something like, well, I'm Cuban, and I've never been oppressed. And Nate's like, really? And she's like, well, there are some assholes, but that's not the country's fault. I love America. USA. Marina, are you okay? She's so close to getting it, and she just plays devil's advocate for every point. And that's the reason why they're so in love. It's like, oh my gosh, well, I could have this normal conversation, but it's so boring. Every chapter flips between Marina's perspective, Nate's perspective, and they're both so unlikable. If this is the way you try and get somebody to be a moderate, it's almost effective. Like, they're both really annoying. Every chapter is either Marina being like, oh, he's ruining my life, and then Nate's like, oh, she's ruining my life, and then Marina's like, oh my god, I hate myself for falling for him, and then Nate's like, oh, I hate myself for falling for her. And then guess what? Guess what? Even after it's revealed that Nate's friend Tiffany was during freshman year, and she regrets not speaking out against this man, and now Ben told her to kill herself, so now she's like, I'm never gonna be stifled by a man again. He will pay for what he says to me. This is hate speech. Nate sticks up for Ben and ruins his whole relationship, friendship with Tiffany to be with Marina. They end up together by the end. And this is supposed to be marketed as a Romeo and Juliet for liberals and Republicans, which is like, no one asked for that, first of all. And second of all, if it's Romeo and Juliet, I thought that they would break up by the end, or somehow they'd both die, but no, we get this instead. I thought it was going to be very interesting of them both just being like, we're too different. But no. No. Nate says, to conversation, especially conversations that can isolate you from the people that you are around your whole life just because you want to get some puss. You suck, Nate. You suck, Marina. I'm so pressed about these fictional characters. I wasted so much of my time. And I was really looking for the silver lining. I actually wanted to be like, hey, but these are the things they did well. No. I wrote this too because I just thought it was interesting. When Nate called out someone for being an asshole to his friend Leo, Tiffany called him a white savior, which was strange to me, but I'll tread lightly on that one. All I'll say is that it was weird that Tiffany is setting those boundaries for Leo instead of Leo himself. Like, the whole thing was that somebody called Leo the N-word, and Nate was kind of like, man, that's so fucked up. And Tiffany's like, you're not the one that should be speaking on that. And it's like, what? Anyways, this was before Nate completely screwed up everything with Tiffany. So at this point I was kind of like, Tiffany, that was a little weird for you to say, but I'm always on Tiffany's side, regardless. Hello, other angle. So then Tiffany says that Nate was not part of the LGBT community because he's a bisexual and he could be straight passing, which first of all, that was the worst thing Tiffany ever said. And even though she apologized for it later, I just feel the need to point that out because that's pretty messed up. And secondly, as this book says multiple times, does this motherfucker look straight? I'm sorry. So there's a lot of moments in this book where I can agree, like, oh wow, haha. Liberals can be annoying too. But it's like, how are we even going to compare Tiffany to Ben? Because the author is clearly trying really hard to build up parallels between this girl that's like, I'm so tired of being pushed aside, and then this guy who's like, I'm so tired of not being able to antagonize women, and I'm so tired of not being able to tell women what they can do with their bodies. I'm so tired of like yada yada yada. First of all, bitch, you decided to go to MIT. No one forced you to go to MIT, Ben. Like, you could have went to freaking, University of Alabama or some shit. Like, you could have went somewhere with people who share your views, but now you're like, the media's against me. Everyone's against me. No one's against you, dude. Like, she left nasty comments on his post being like, yo, this is so problematic. This hurts so many people. Stop. Maybe, throw a few curses in there. I'm guilty of that myself on the Twitter app. But he basically started the blog to piss her off. And then when he pissed her off to a point, like, where she got the dean involved, again, after he told her to kill herself, he was like, how did this happen? So clearly, okay, I'm not gonna pretend I don't have my own biases, but again, I was really trying to look for the moments where they saw eye to eye, but almost everything they brought up was a human rights issue. That was like, well, yeah, maybe immigrants shouldn't come into this country. And it's like, bruh, Marina, you're an immigrant. What the fuck are you talking about? I hope I expressed all of the reasons why this was not a good idea, truly. This made me want to stop reading entirely. But let me know if you like this video, leave a thumbs up, maybe subscribe. Next week, if I get back into reading, if I can recover from this, I will read some Pitbull fanfiction, so let me know if you want to see that. Anyways, have a great day, guys. I hope you're having a better day than I'm having after reading that book. And stay safe, wear a mask. Bye! Marina would probably argue against wearing a mask. I can't.